so slow. Okay. Okie dokie. Right, now, okay, this is an interesting story. So, first of all, who are you?
My name is Spencer, and this is my wife, Jenny.
And how many children have you got? 4?
Yes, 4.
And how old are you all?
We've got
9?
6?
6?
7?
7. So 6, 7, 9 and
3 years old, right?
3. And so it's important to point out you're both were in the health profession.
Yes.
So tell us about you first so we understand it.
Yes, I'm a practicing pharmacist who worked in retail for about almost 14 years, and retail pharmacy has changed a lot over the years. It went from medication providers and just consulting with people about their medications, trying to stress adherence and things like that. And all of a sudden the doors have been opened to giving immunizations because there's a market for it, because it's face-to-face with customers and there's an ability to search their vaccine records online to find out if they're due for anything. And it's turned into a huge goal-oriented process of making money and getting results for companies especially. And I worked for a big box retailer where I fought the battle for quite a while with the religious exemption of not giving them, and it ended up being where they never actually made a decision on it. They told me I had to get certified and then they would decide if that was right or not, and I wasn't prepared to do that, so I ended up finding a different career.
Did they tell you how to leave, or did you?
No, I did quit on my own. They told me that we know that you're still pending your religious exemption and we haven't decided on that, but your team has to produce, and if you can't make your team produce the weekly goals of immunizations, then you're not doing your job. So you need to force them. They have to produce results. And I said, I'm not the person for that. I'm obviously not going to do it myself. And secondly, I'm not going to force anyone to do it when there were others that were not comfortable with it either. I wasn't the one person in the pharmacy that was opposed to giving them to everyone.
So how long does it take you to train to become a pharmacist? I mean, can anyone be a pharmacist, or do you have to have some kind of?
It was 6 years of college to become a pharmacist, and at the time I went through 6 years of college, but now it's 6 years plus many of them do another year or sometimes 2 of residencies afterwards. So it can go on for a very long time.
And what was it, a gut instinct? What on earth made you think that vaccines were even an issue? What stopped you?
Well, that takes us back several years when our 6-year-old boy was 4 months old. And it was up until that point that, because my background in vaccines was going through college, there wasn't anything taught about vaccines. It was just, well, vaccines, you just give vaccines and, here's the schedule and that's just what you do. That's the one thing that wasn't questioned. When we were taught about medications, there was a lot more detail taught about side effects and problems, contraindications, things like that. When it comes to vaccines, it's just, well, everybody needs to get vaccinated and this is what you do. It wasn't even a question of a potential for not being safe. And so at that time, when our children were little, we started out immunizing our children. And
so you weren't a pharmacist then? Yeah,
I was. Yep, I was a pharmacist.
So, but you had a gut feeling you didn't want to vaccinate?
No, I have to hand that over to Jenny, because she had, from her background, she had the instincts and the motherly instincts too that told her that there's something wrong with this. And I said, well, no, we just need to do this. And I'll let you take it.
Okay, now Jenny. Okay, Jenny, you are also. What did you used to do in the health world?
I was a medical assistant, so I worked in a family practice clinic and, did the blood pressure checks and the weight and, brought the patients back. But I also gave a big part of the job.
Okay, is there Buzz Lightyear in the background? Can we turn Buzzy off, please?
Thank you. Also, a huge part of the job was giving vaccinations, and giving them was hard, as you can imagine, a needle into a baby's butt. But also, the one thing that made me question everything, which I still vaccinated my kids afterwards because I was so I just believed, what I was told. But yet, in my heart, I knew that something wasn't right. But I gave this 4-month-old baby boy his shots, all his, routine 4-month shots, and I'll never forget, a week later, I got his chart back before electronic records, and got his chart on the desk, and it said deceased, like a little yellow paper that said deceased, cause of death, SIDS. And so I looked through, because I knew I gave him his shots, and I looked through, and sure enough, I documented them all. And my heart was just racing, and I brought it to the doctor, and I said, please tell me that it was nothing that I gave or that I did or that I did wrong. No, of course not. This has nothing to do with it. SIDS is unknown cause of death, has nothing to do with it. And I wanted to be relieved because I didn't want to cause his death, but I shoved it away. And then I eventually left the field because I just couldn't, I don't know. It's something bothered me in my soul. I just left it. And then we had our own children. I stayed home with our children, but we still vaccinated. And our first two, the first one was, she cried for 12 months. Basically, she didn't sleep. She was colicky, they called it, and pediatrician said it has nothing to do with the vaccines. But the whole time I questioned. But it took till our third child had his 4-month shots and had a seizure. And coincidentally, that boy at the clinic, I only worked there for 4 years, but that boy at the clinic was 4 months after he, died of SIDS, after his vaccines that I gave him. So that opened my eyes, and I just poured into research, and the rest is history. We stopped vaccinating, and she hasn't had any.
None at all?
For vitamin K.
Vitamin K.
Because I couldn't, I just couldn't. And I regret that, because she had jaundice for 4 weeks.
Why? Yeah, I was going to ask you that. So, how old is she again? 3?
Yeah.
So, hello, 3-year-old. You look like you're much older than 3. So, you gave her the vitamin K, but now you regret it. Is there anything that's made you think that was something you should have regretted?
Absolutely. Now that I did look into it a little bit, but I kind of withheld from fully looking into polysorbate 80, the whole thing. And then, of course, after she had jaundice for 4 weeks, I thought, well, that's a no-brainer from the vitamin K. And then, so, but if we were to do it all over again, it would be none.
After the 4 months vaccines with our son and the seizure that he had after that, it was eye-opening to me, and we're very thankful to God that first of all our eyes were opened, and second of all that God really did protect our children. I mean, we're very fortunate. There's so many that have had so many worse lifelong reactions to vaccines, and we're very fortunate that to turn out. Yeah.
You shouldn't have to settle.
No,
absolutely not.
But there's a reason for it.
Yep. And what sealed the deal, and then for me, is once we started looking into things that we learned so much. When we went back in for our next appointment with his, not a pediatrician, but a physician's assistant that worked under a pediatrician that we saw, and then we witnessed the denial. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. There's no way. Yeah. There's no way. It's probably a tumor. We should probably schedule an MRI.
Mm-hmm. I printed out the insert, and I highlighted seizure on DTaP. He had DTaP, HIB, PCV, polio, and rotavirus. And
and we basically said, well, it's right there in the package insert that
I showed it to her.
It can cause seizures, and
she said no.
We never see that though. We don't see that. And
that's why it's listed as a problem on the inside.
Right. Yep. And that was, for me, that was like getting hit in the face. That was part of my medical. This was part of my medical profession. I was honestly, I was ashamed, because you want to think that people that are quote unquote caring for others in the medical field, many of them take the oath to do no harm, and that's one area with vaccines that's not being upheld, because there's some benefits to them, but there are so many lifelong instances where there's problems with it, and the science can't be settled on something like that. The United States can do better.
I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to get into the head of a pediatrician, for example, and I can't, because I get you want to be a doctor because you want to help people. Mm-hmm. I get that. I'm pretty sure everybody goes into medical school to do good.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not going to fight that. But I don't understand how doctors like Dr. Suzanne Humphreys, Dr. Dr. Franz, Dr. Moss, etc., can see the errors of the ways of vaccines or whatever, and people like you trained to give vaccines, and not work it out, and why some can't work it out. I don't understand that. Mm-hmm. And when the patients come back and say, look, my kids had a seizure, and they say it's not the vaccines, that's something went wrong. What went wrong?
I don't know.
I don't know what it is. I think it's just, maybe it's just fear of going against the big machine. the machine being the pharmaceutical companies, the government, the many years of people doing things the same way, and also maybe even having to deal with a little bit of regret that, well, you know, if I acknowledge that this is possible, and I can acknowledge that I've done harm in the past, and I just don't want to deal with that. You know, that there's a lot of dynamics that I think comes into play.
But also what they're taught, everything that they're taught is that it's safe and effective, and why would you stray from that?
And that's it, and they're not taught enough. Right. You know, that's basically it. They're safe and effective, and here's the schedule. You know, there's no delving into, you know, what the potentials are and things like that.
Doctors tell us that in their training, they don't really have any training on vaccines, but they get a lot of pharma sales reps that come in and talk to them about how wonderful vaccines, you know, this drug or this vaccine or whatever it may be. And so it's a kind of, do you think we need to do better? Do you think the medical schools are slightly bought off by pharma?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at different colleges of pharmacy or medical colleges, you know, you'll see how much money is given to them under the guise of, you know, research and things like that, which all sounds good and everything, but a lot of money is coming from big pharma. And so you can't tell me that there's not some influence that they have when it comes to what the students are getting out of it.
So with everything you both know, I mean, I feel for you actually more than anybody, because you gave vaccines, and that must sit somewhere down in there. And you obviously did not know the dangers of vaccines, because you wouldn't have done it. You're a good person. But maybe you woke up and you refused to do it anymore. You refused to do it in the first place. You've never vaccinated one, correct? You're a pharmacist. You've never vaccinated. I don't think there's anybody.
Right.
There's no pharmacists out there. That's what they do.
Right.
That's what they do now. Yep. Didn't used to, but now.
But there's big money in it for that.
Money.
We were talking, some off record would not go on camera. They were far too scared. They were actually working in Walmart or somewhere like that. And they said, you know, if she has to do things like inject an orange. She is trying not to, but if she doesn't hit those sales targets, she's out of a job.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, he was the manager, so he was supposed to be giving them plus
making sure that the team was giving them as well.
Yeah.
And there were other pharmacists one other pharmacist that was, you know, aware of things in the way that we are aware of things with dangers of vaccines, and she didn't want to do it at all, but felt that she had to. And so I don't know if she's actually giving them yet. She's trying to avoid it, but it'll get to the point where she'll be squeezed out too. And it's just wrong. It
is wrong, but I do know this, that all these health professionals that are either getting fired or pushed out, they have got to get together, because we will go to them, whatever they build, whatever clinic they have. I'm sure there's way more people that know now than don't know.
Yep.
There's a lot.
And I mean, I meet people who say, listen, hi, lovely, see what you're doing, but just so you know, can't go on film or hiding in the woods.
Yes.
Or whatever it is they're doing. So there's
scared.
just tons more. And I actually also realise that the baddies, there are really not that many of them. There are a few really bad baddies that are influencing down, and we're cracking the code here, because people. And at the moment, I'll be honest with you, it's doctors and pharmacists that have faith that are coming out.
Right.
Want to do the wrong thing means left, right, and centre.
Yes.
I'm not making it up. They just come here and they say, I have faith and I know I'm doing wrong.
Yes. That's what.
For now,
right.
They're coming out, but I think people will. Look, as I keep saying, it doesn't matter whether you've got faith or not. At the end of the day, you can't take your money with you wherever you think you're going.
Right.
Absolutely.
There's no U-Haul van trailing you to wherever you think that is.
No, and the big thing that we need to focus on is the informed consent, which is a huge topic when it comes to this, because no one is actually getting informed consent. They'll ask you if you're allergic to eggs or if you're allergic to neomycin or something like that before you get it. But if you say no, there's no problem, then okay, we just go right along with it. They don't go through, there's a 1 in a million chance possibly of an injection site reaction, and possibly, very rare you could have a hypersensitivity or an anaphylactic reaction, but we have epinephrine on hand just in case that happens. But they never go into all the other listed side effects and things that aren't on the government propaganda sheet, which is the vaccine information statement. That's all they see. The package insert goes into much more detail, and no one ever gets that far.
And I mean, basically, the insert, if you really read it, and it's huge, and you have to get, I mean, don't care how good your eyes are, you still have to get something out. That is tiny.
Yeah.
And if you actually go through it, basically what it says is do not give if you're allergic to any of the ingredients or sensitive in the vaccine, which you will not know if you are until you've tried. So it's a catch-22, and they've covered, Merck and all the rest have covered every inch. There's every illness. There's even SIDS on the insert, which I was trying to tell that poor Daily Mail reporter today, because he was making a fool of him saying SIDS is, you know, bad parents that put their kids down wrong.
But he wouldn't hear it.
And I was like, whoa, it's on the insert? And he just wouldn't, he wasn't listening.
Where was SIDS years ago when every baby, parents used to put their babies on their belly to sleep, you know, and things like that with blankets. You know.
In the old days, they had big, thick duvets that they'd snuggle us in. We didn't die of suffocation.
No.
And now it's, even if your baby is just on a mattress with nothing else, they say it's suffocation. They're 4 months, they were holding their heads up, as this mother pointed out. They're desperate, and that's why I'd have to keep going back to Andy Wakefield's Bad Man.
Right.
They really can't think of anything else.
No, they get rebutted.
Did you guys get, are you still a pharmacist?
Yes,
Do you work for yourself?
No, I work in a hospital setting now where I don't have to give them. So that's a different issue, at least. I'm not forced to give them, but you know, when I started there, they wanted me to get shots or get titers to find out if I had immunity, and specifically their big one was measles, because, well, you know, we're in Minnesota and there's been a huge outbreak of measles here, which turned out to be less than 80 people. And lots of
deaths.
Yes, very, very, very dangerous.
So many deaths that they're too many for them to print in the paper, because wouldn't we hear about it if there was a real death right now?
Yes, there would, and there might be some pictures of you guys next to it too.
Of course, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So you know, for the time being, I'm employed, and I'm not being forced to give shots or anything, and so I guess we'll see what happens in the future, though.
Right. So now, So is there anything? So I interviewed a scientist the other day who was working on the Ebola. Did you see that one? Anyway, beautiful, lovely lady working on it. And she says they're making the vaccine right now. It's just down the road from where we were before, being made. And so we're very soon going to have an Ebola outbreak, because we know how the marketing goes. My suspicion is it'll be Florida. I don't know why I just feel Florida. And it'll be danger, people dying. There'll be pictures of dead people everywhere.
Disney World is a nice touch.
We've kind of done Disney World. I feel like we need a new place to do it. So there's going to be this huge, dangerous death everywhere, and then there's going to be mass vaccine thing. And already some of the schools, certainly in Texas, are getting national vaccine emergency drills. That's happening. So they're getting ready for it. So they're going to test out what happens if we scare people enough. And anyway, I asked her, because she's an expert, because she's worked on Ebola, would you give, if there was a mass outbreak, the Ebola vaccine to you or your kids? Hell no. I mean, guys, come on. If the people that work in the system say don't. But don't you feel really sorry for those young innocent parents that we all used to be? You guys in your medical training with your babies.
We try to help. There's only so much you can do, and people don't want to hear it. I mean, we haven't lost, but we have a lot of opposition in family and with friends. And
tension with friends and family, definitely.
Over this.
But are they medical, your family?
Some. And that's where
But overall, it's been positive, though. I mean, I'm not on social media or anything, you know, but my wife has been active on there and has put some good information out, and there's been positive results from it too.
Yes, people reach out always privately. You know, they'll privately message me.
Because they're scared to put their names out and things like that.
That's changing though. Because when we started out on the bus only a year ago, people would whisper to us, and now, like the lady before you just said, you know what? I wasn't always the lady before that. I don't know which one. She said, I would never sit here telling my story, but I see others doing it. If they can do it, I can do it, and that's what this is about.
That's right.
And they really, if thousands and hundreds of thousands of us do it, it's kind of game over for them, really, isn't it?
Yeah, they're getting scared.
Yep.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah. If we can stop the mandates and the laws and allow for exemptions and informed consent, that's a a big win.
Well, if you ever lose your job, we need you. We need you both with your, because we're building wonderful centres for the adults that are injured.
Good
And
to
they're
know.
so clever. They're so clever. I cannot tell you how clever they are.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to build this wonderful family of peeps, and we'll need doctors and trained medical professions. But it's going to be healthy environment, fun, loving.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Something
So-
where you can actually.
And we
truly
need them
help
everywhere
people.
because there's millions of us that have got
Really?
injured children. And so we're going to need you guys that have gone to the light side.
I want to say it's good to know, but it's
Yeah.
actually, sad that there has.
Yeah.
come to
It's
that.
really sad, but we're
Yeah.
going to try. It's happened,
Yeah.
and it
So
is what
we
it
have to
is.
deal with it.
So I think it's our duty to the injured, to look after the injured and
Mhm.
give them what they deserve, which is a future that's safe
Right.
Yeah.
and that they have fun and they're loved.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and that's what we're
Yeah.
so thankful for this movement and for people like you that work
Yes.
tirelessly doing these things and sharing these stories, because it's one thing to learn about it, make your mind up, and then just call it good enough.
Yeah.
But it is a duty to share the truth, to open eyes, and in your case to work tirelessly to do that, and we're thankful for that, and there's a lot of people that are.
No, I have a great husband who is as passionate about this as I am. We it's justice for Billy. It's justice for all these dead children and adults behind. It's not okay.
No, not okay. No.
So, but you guys are a wonderful. What a handsome family.
Thank you.
Yeah, really lovely. So, thank you so much, and
Thank you.
it really means a lot for us when medical professionals come on this bus, and it's brave of you guys, and we appreciate it. But there's so many of you guys now. Are you in Physicians for Informed Choice or something?
I'm on that.
Yeah,
He's
you
not
guys.
on Facebook.
Yeah, you both should be on
Yeah.
on that somehow, because it's a really and growing
Yes.
number of medical professionals that are just joining together.
Yes.
Mhm. That's
Yes.
wonderful.
I should think
It is
that's
a good-
probably panicking the dark side more than anything else.
Probably, yeah.
Mustn't call it the dark side. That's naughty.
The dark side.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Say goodbye to everybody. Everyone thinks you're wonderful, and we
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. Thank you very much.